Greetings, Lotus family, and to anybody else. Hi, hello, I am Lotus. I am Fire Lotus the Witch. I've been doing these for about 3 to 4 years now. Um, yeah, I've been practicing for about 18 going on 19. Um, and yeah, so there's a lot that we're going to be talking about today. There's actually a lot of newer concepts that I'm going to be discussing. Well, they're new to me. That I'm also going to be discussing today because holy shit, everything is just going wickedy wonkety wonk. What? Yeah. On top of that, I am going to be reading out of a fucking style. Oh my god, weather. Stop fucking with my brain. A pack. A pack. No, it's not a pack of books. A stack. A stack. There we go. Holy shit. A stack of books today. Because we're going to focus on protection specifically because I honestly think as witches and a community, we talk way too much about hexing. Um, we're also going to be going over hello. We're also going to be able to talk about what is currently going on the fucking app. The fucking app. It really is, man. It's not just that. It's that didn't really sleep well that night. I had a couple of health issues last night. I'm perfectly fine. Now I'm perfectly fine. Woke up seasons. The fucking allergies are slapping me in the face hard time, and then the solar flares, and just in general, it's just one of those days. So, okay, for one, I encourage anybody who uses any type of social media, download a cheap ass fucking free editing app, right? Photo editing app. Then you're going to use either A, create your own sigil, and or B, use the two sites that I've talked about before, sigil engine. There we go. And I'll have those posted in the descriptions of this videos. Um, but yeah, okay, so I encourage you to put those, like, hide them in your profile pictures. And why is this? So, currently what is going on the app that as much as I hate talking about it, it needs to be addressed. Something wonky is going on the witchy side of the app, where people are actually being hit, as in people are having to go to the hospital. Multiple other things in the past month, and it doesn't make sense because the people that's being affected by this, they stay out of the drama. So either one, it's a mutual follower of all of us, and or I don't know, newer ideas to me when because we've talked about this in some of my older lives and videos about like technology and witchcraft and how we're at this point where they have fully merged. But techno magic, I am not familiar with in any way, shape, or form. I've done some things like that before, but yeah, yes, they really are. And there are a couple of theories that are going on. I'm not really going into them because they're not my original ideas. It was just I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and holy shit, a lot of stuff makes sense. So if you do follow me on TikTok, the video that I uploaded today with the mirror, there's a reason I did that, and I'm encouraging other people to do the same thing. Or duet that video to see if it works. Basically, I'm experimenting with techno magic right now. Um, but we also have to think of, for one, there's a reason I always have this tapestry up. Yes, I did check last night if anything sent my way so far. Nothing, but keeping my guard up. Okay, sweet. The weird thing is, though, I don't think this is intentional. As in, you're either going to have one to two things that we're going to figure out. Either one, it is a group and they're specifically trying to do it, and or somebody who didn't know that they did it. And the theory that we talked about was basically it's somebody's wards that have been attacked, but for some reason they shrapneled. So it's kind of like a rippling effect. And it has to do with the FYP page. Which is stupid considering the entire point of the damn app is to get on the FYP page, right? But that's where most of these videos and most of these people are being, in some way, shape, or form, fucked with. Which is insane because I've seen on my second account I uploaded the pictures of mine and my partner's cleansing. His was good. Mine actually did have something to where somebody tried throwing it at me, but it did not successfully hit. Why is that? Well, I'm not going into full detail, but for one, there's a reason this tapestry is here. There's a reason in all of my videos you see what I want you to see. My blog videos, I'm going to have to reconstruct the way that I do those. Why is that? Some practitioners, I'm one of them, believe that the more somebody understands the more somebody understands your property and how everything is set up, depending on if they're actually witches who have not been practicing for more than 2 years, there's a reason I said that. We're not getting into that. Basically, the more somebody knows your layout, the easier it is to hit you with something. The more information, personal information you give out online, the more people can use that to your advantage. That's why I've never revealed my top 3. When you go to somebody for a natal chart, you need to trust them high-heartedly, because any actual practicing witch who knows what the fuck they're doing, all they would actually need is your birth chart. With that one birth chart, if they knew how to fully read it, they could literally set your entire life up to where every single major moment that is good for you, they could reverse that to where it slaps you in the face. Now, the reason that I'm saying I think we're hyper-focusing on this fucking hexing and baneful magic, for one, this is the first time in say 20 years that it's actually really being talked about, but it's also evolving. But what we're seeing right now on the witchy communities is basically the Salem witch trial all over again. What do I mean by that? One person uploads a video stating, hey, you need to stop fucking with my wards, you need to stop doing this, and then what's wind up happening is you're having people basically fucking say it was their neighbor, aka their mutual. I've actually seen mutuals who have been friends for like 2 years completely unravel within this past like month, and I don't understand it, because from as far as I know, all the way until I think it's April 28th, we're not supposed to have any type of fucking planets in retrograde whatsoever. So it's not a retrograde, although I am so slightly looking forward to all the fuckery that is going to come when these retrogrades start rolling in. But specifically, if you are worried about this, duet the video that I put on my profile. There is something in that. No, it is not baneful. No, it's not going to hurt anybody or anything like that. Y'all know me better than that. But I'm experimenting. And the only way that you can advance witchcraft is by what? Experimenting. And then on top of that, there is a practitioner. She's actually not a practitioner. I'm going to call her a healer. On TikTok. I actually duetted some of her videos and was kind of... I didn't understand it. This goes into quantum leaping, quantum jumping, quantum healing, more things that I'm not really fully used to, and I don't fully understand if I understand it myself. But through the process of that, and due to the fact if you keep up with me on TikTok, you would know that I've been going or experiencing time shifts. And I just hopped on what video? There is the last video that I posted on my main account. It is literally just a mirror and smoke, with a song. There's a reason I'm doing that, though. It's an experiment to see if we can actually combat what's currently happening right now. And I also just realized how much I have not taken advantage of all the functions in Discord. I had no idea that the group chats were basically like a fucking phone call. For all this time, I thought it was just like recording. No, it's an actual phone call. So I'm definitely going to be using that more often. Now, before I say this, yes, the author that I'm about to show is extremely controversial. Talking about techno-magic. Yes, techno-magic and protection. I'm going to go over multiple different types of things. The book that I'm about to show, yes, the author is extremely problematic, depending on what circle you're in. I don't care. Y'all know how I feel about problematic authors. There's still some type of good information in the book. So, with that being said, well, I should read it to y'all. Silver Spells for Protection by Silver Ravenwolf. And this little insert right here is going to be simple folk spells for little troubles. Turn your shirt. Now, obviously, if we were to do some of these in modern day, we would look kind of weird. But again, folk magic. And it's so funny because I've had this book for probably 10 years and had no fucking idea she went over folk magic. Turn your shirt inside out and slam it in a door to send back gossip. Light a white candle and say Lift me above the sea of unkind words. Great Mother brings to me peace, harmony, and goodwill. Take your measure head to toe with red yarn and burn it to relieve yourself of any negative that can build up over a particular stressful time. Light a white candle and say, cleanse me of all negative energy. Lord and Lady, allow me to go forward in truth, honesty, and joy. Okay, some of these are a little bit lighter than I wanted to. Can I send you some? Oh, yeah. That would be awesome. And hello. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I would love that. Honestly, I would love that. We're also, I may do a video on different things because there's a lot of here in the South. There's a lot of things that grow out in our yards that are extremely fucking protective. All right, well, write a name on the offending party on a piece of paper and put it in the freezer. We all know this one. It's a freezer spell. It stops gossip. Cleanse your house with a cleansing herb. Not what she. Now I understand why she's problematic. Um. Okay, no, I'm over that book. There is some good shit in there, but at the end of the day, it is very light. That's the only way I can describe that. Now, the second book. They're taking over my yard. It's cutting most of it down. Oh, okay, sweet. Yeah, I would love some. So this book, if you can get your hands on it, and I know some people do not like this. I don't give a shit. Finances are hard right now. The Library. No, is it Z Library. You have so many fucking PDF downloads and audio books about witchcraft and all things magical. Yes, cedar, of course. Use cedar instead of white sage. You can use pine. Roses. A lot of people do not know this. So many fucking people hyper focus on roses with love. No, there's a reason in most cemeteries and or graveyards there are rose bushes and or holly bushes planted at all exits and entrance. The reason that is because roses have been used in exorcisms and for exorcisms. A lot of people don't know that, which means they have cleansing properties. This book right here, if you can get it, I also believe that it's on the PDF website that I was talking about, which is Protection and Reversal Magic, a Witch's Defense Manual. Now, as I tell anybody, if you go out and get one of these books, add something to it. Why is this? These books have been sold probably hundreds of thousands of copies, which means hundreds of thousands of witches also have these books and any other book on your bookshelf. What does that mean? If the same witch that you're trying to do something on, whether it's protective or something like that, has the exact same book that you're getting the information out of and you're doing it word by word, I would be able to completely dismantle that entire thing to the very beginning. With this, though, and due to the fact that I'm kind of on a no hex thing right now, before you hex somebody, especially online, you need to think of who may be working for them. There are certain bigger witchy practitioners who absolutely can't do shit. So what do? They hire people and they wind up luring people that are actually strong and know what the fuck they're doing. Even if they're very young into it, they will hire them, and then all the magic and shit like that they're doing, you're thinking is coming from them, when in reality it's coming from somebody else. That is how fucked up the some people in the witchy community can be. So much stuff. Also, as I've always said, if you go to follow somebody and you have a very creepy, bad feeling, block them. Instant block. This whole witch war thing that's going on right now, either do it in the DMs or fucking just get off the app. Because at the end of the day, when you let somebody else control your emotions or make you react, you are handing over your control and giving it to them. You are letting that person dominate and dictate how you feel. Don't do that. And trust me, I've also had to walk the fuck away. Which is one of the reasons I haven't really been posting. I didn't go live yesterday. I had shit to do here. It was also this pressure system. Y'all already know, if you follow me for a while, pressure systems really fuck me up sometimes. But this book right here is fucking hands down amazing. So instead of reading some of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post some of this in the Discord. And then I will try to make a video and post it on here as a short to get some of this information out. Now, when it comes to your home protection, there are so many fucking things that you can do. With me, without detailing anything that I do, I don't just do one type of magic. What do I mean by this? I will incorporate everything that is in my personal practice, which I get from Appalachian folk magic, Southern conjure, death witchery, all of these things. I take certain things, Norse, all of them, multiple different types of things, nothing that is closed, and I will weave them and incorporate them in. This morning I've done a meditation with my ancestors and it was so intense I cried at the end. Oh, that is amazing. And same, that's one of the reasons that I've been like posting random shit on the app, because like I'm just not, I don't want to teach on that app anymore, but I also can't walk away from a community that I built. So we're going to slowly change things, and I'm still trying to figure out how to make educational Southern Conjure books or fucking videos without basically it falling on the wrong side of TikTok. But yeah, if you come across a problematic creator that you just do not like, block them. The whole Chelsea Woodland things, I literally probably have over 300 people to 400 people blocked. But I've learned that when you block one person, small things can ripple in, because you never know who is that block in your way. One of the reasons that I've been doing a lot of uncrossings, personal and non-personal through customers, is one of the reasons I've been doing a lot of uncrossing and road openings, because there is a lot, and a lot of people don't understand that. But anyways, we're also going to go to Doctoring the Devil's back of the book, and I'm going to tell you things that you can use for protection. Now, the reason that I'm doing this is when it comes to correspondences like this, they can be used in so many different types of ways, but by all means, there is a thing as too much magic, but at the same time, protection magic is great, but you also need to work in defensive magic with that. And trust me, anybody who fucks around on my property will find out very, very soon some of the newer things that I have been slowly adding in. And I do like to weave them, because just having everything, I mean, it depends on the witch, but having everything neat and everything like that. And I have a video that I haven't uploaded yet, but my partner the other day, before I redid my altar, walked up to it, and he goes, you know, you're not really going to have to worry about anybody trying to fuck with you. And I'm like, why? And he goes, your altar is so fucking confusing and all over the place. They're not even going to know what to hit. And I was like, well, yes, thank you. I know that. And like these videos where you see online, they drive me crazy. You know, when it comes to this moon, don't manifest here, don't manifest there. Why are you letting a person online that has nothing to do with you dictate what you will and will not do? Anyways, with that being said, all right, and thank you. All right, protection from conjurings and unnatural illnesses. This is a long one, by the way. You have Adam's needles and thread, leaves and root, angelic root, ant eggs, anthill dirt, baby powder, balm of Gilead, buds and bark, basil, bear's bed. Please, if you go try to get bear's bed, be careful. Don't get killed. LOL, my altar and working space is crazy. Unorganized. Keep it that way. I love unorganized chaos. Straight up. Not to mention, especially if a practitioner it would try to like harm me, and they're one of the people that like everything perfect, they're going to have one head of a massive headache. And that's how I do my things. But it also, what I mean by weave is it's kind of over time, you weave it to where it literally becomes like a dome of protection over your house. And there's this newer thing that people are trying to try where they think that if they're astro projecting, they slip through your wards. I'm here to tell you it does not work like that, depending on how and what wards you put up. If you did not know this, I do not have a book that actually goes on it. Easily find it on the interwebs. Need to start looking up wards that are specifically designed for astral attacks and or astral projection. But anyways, let's go back. All right, we got beet, root, and juice. Black beans, black cat fur, black chickens, rooster hens and eggs, feathers, and dried feet. Black ganache root, or known as black snake root. Black cow's milk. Did not know that. Black dog's hair, black pepper, bonset, borax, 20 mule team. Obviously spent bullets. Exactly. But see, a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people, for one, a lot of people who randomly, where they're like, well, I'm going to go astro project for the first time, and they come back with this wild ass story, unless their bodies have a predisposition, as in it has that natural ability to astro project, they're not astro projecting, they're just dreaming. Um, and then a lot of people, they tend to try to astro project while they're dreaming. Don't do that. Don't no. If you're going to astro project, try it while you are fully aware and fully awake. Um, I personally don't astro travel that much. Not saying I can or I can't. Again, I don't reveal everything that I do. There are also other things that you can find online that fall under the poison path, but if you get any of those, make sure you know what you're doing. Okay? But Mugwort Tea, we've already talked about that. Too much of it can kill you. If you are preggo, if you're any close to being pregnant or anything like that, stay the fuck away from Mugwort Tea. There are also, if you really want a tea to help you relax and to sleep, not that I'm a doctor or anything like that, Egyptian Blue Lotus Tea. If you can get your hands on that, it is extremely fucking potent. So when I tell you you need to drink like an actual like teacup cup amount, drink that. Obviously though, test it, make sure nothing like that. But I do travel around similar to you. Oh, that is awesome. And I haven't done that in a while. I want to because okay, wait. I'm so sorry. Y'all know me. I'm ADHD. So if any of y'all, and let me know in the thing. Yes, or smoke lavender. That also works. Rose petals and lavender, a little bit of mugwort, really good. Um, so did any of y'all, I don't know how long all these people have been following me, but shit, I think it was about the first year that I started TikTok. I kept having these dreams where I was going to this one specific location, and this happened over like multiple days where every night I would go to sleep, I would boom be there. Um I found somebody on TikTok who lives in a church, and some of the things they have in that church that they have created, they were in my dream. Which, on top of that, it's also upstate. Like, I think it's upstate New York, Pennsylvania. So I may not have been fully crazy as what I thought I was. Um, but yes, I have not done that in a while, and I need to. I did find a cool witchy meditation that I published on my that I shared on my Facebook page. I actually did it, and it's actually really soothing. There's not really any hertz or frequencies in there, so you're not gonna have to worry about it like messing you up or anything like that. Now, if you do start listening to like walkthrough meditations and things like that, check the comment section of those videos and check the description to make sure there are no hertz in them. If there are any type of hertz or frequencies, double check them to make sure that they do not have a reverse reaction. For anybody who has CPSD, PTSD, or any type of trauma, it will really fuck you up. It fucked me up for 3 days. I literally did not want to sleep because of the horrific nightmares that I was having. And normally I don't have nightmares, and if I do, I don't really remember them unless they're anxiety filled. Um, but when it comes to astraling and stuff like that, there are things, and the reason I'm telling all this is because they don't really talk about it anywhere else, gatekeeping. You can actually put astral symbols all over your property. There are so many things that you can do. A lot of people, thanks to TikTok, Witch Talk, get stuck in doing these same things. If you want runes or sigils all over your house, don't use a marker, don't use oil, use a crystal. Because nobody will be able to see it except for the people that will be able to sense that energy, and you won't really be able to see it as much as you'll be able to feel it. I need to try to meditate for sure. I love guides, meditation videos. I prefer nature sounds or water, and nothing hurts for sure. That is awesome, and I do too. I'm slowly starting to get back into it, plus it's helping me kind of bridge that gap between my agoraphobia of me actually getting outside. Um, but yeah, I encourage you to like do multiple things when it comes for protection, because yes, you can have too much. What do I mean by too much? I had somebody on TikTok try to send me something for the past like 4 months last year, and every single time it came back here, it was boom. It did not even get to my mailbox, but it always got returned to them saying return to sender. Literally return to sender. We've had issues. Well, no, we've never really had issues with delivery drivers. We did have an issue with an ambulance one time. So yeah, too much protection, even on your vehicle, it can be a bad thing. I'm about to explain why. On the French witch talk, they piss me off because they say that they have these bottom astrals or top astrals, and I'm like, what the fuck? Alrighty then, I have a tumbler. I wonder if I can mix crystal dust. Actually, I love that idea. And then if you have any animals that have been buried on your property, go talk to them and whisper a couple of things in their ears. They will gladly be able to help. Now, like I've always said, you also, depending on how your relationships are with your land spirits, that is definitely a thing. And let me tell you, there ain't nothing scarier than trying to fuck with somebody's wards and something you have never seen before comes running at your ass. Um, I used to live on this one property, which I've talked certain stories about it, but there was a lot of different type of things on that property. Not really cryptoids, just energetic things. That was also the same property that I had to do the exorcist on the farm with. So that was a fun one. Um, but there are a lot of things that you can use around you. And a lot of people tend to bury their things, which is great. Depending on how you do your protection, you do. But also hanging things. In Appalachian folk magic and other folk matches, wind chimes are a way of protection. Um, so many things can be protection that most people don't understand. But with protection, because yes, it's good, also need to learn defensive magic. Now, defensive magic, depending on who you ask, some people say it does fall under the terms of baneful workings. To me, it's not. To me, I am the type of witch where I'm black and white, as in, not, I know not everything is black and white. What I mean by that is, I draw very clear lines. You fuck with my livelihood, you fuck with my friends and or family, all bets are off. Depending on the extent of what happened, complete all bets are off. Um, I have a dream catcher hanging everywhere. I love them. I have not. I have one that was gifted to me by an actual. I miss him so much. By a really, really special person, and I have that hung up in my craft room. And then, well, I was gonna show y'all. I've made them myself. Just not on the traditional stance of what like a dream catcher is. Like for an example, if I wanted to turn this into one, I would not do the weaving that they normally would. I would use this and the twine or the string to actually make a sigil in it and then hang crystals from it. You could also do this and have sigils in there. So for all you foragers who grow your own herbs, put a rune in it, turn it upside down, have string, connect it to a basket, and you have a root dryer, but also protective sigil. I mean, not a root dryer, a plant dryer. There we go. Which I'm currently working on. I finally got to go through the boxes of baskets my partner sent me. And I will be hopefully very soon creating, like, there's two of them that I'm going to string together to where they're just hanging down. But yes, defensive magic is really, really great, and it's really, really great to know. I also need to catch up on these things. I've asked my BF if we had to bury him. I found a dead snake on my mom's property. Pictures in my Discord, but excited. Oh, that is awesome! It's a black Indo. Oh, those are fuck. I love those snakes so much. My own as well. A few with sigils and crystals in them. Oh, that is awesome. And yes, snake skins. Hello. Snakes can be used in not only baneful working, they can also be used in protective working. Um, Are your lives private from now on? No, I didn't go live yesterday, and then the last live that I did, I don't know if I uploaded or not. I'll go back and look. But no, none of my lives are private. The only live that will be private and or could be private is if I go live in the Discord. And I don't even know if I can do that. But snakes. Snakes can be used. The snake skin can be used. Obviously, if it's a venomous snake, it can also be used. Just watch out with working with certain types of, and that's what they kind of mean by like certain people saying don't work with this or this because of the trickster spirit. Make sure you commune with the animal of the body part that you were using to kind of get an okay, because the last thing you want to do is set up something with a say a snake in it, and then you wind up getting bit by a snake because you called upon that energy without properly distributing it. And yes, that has happened multiple times. The only time I'd knock on wood, the only time I fully been hit was when I got stung in the face. That's basically a shut the fuck up spell. And I also know who did it. But that's in the past, so. But yes, be careful with the information and everything that you share. Now, there are more defensive books out there other than this. One of the best books I've ever found, and nobody really talks about it, and I don't understand why, because you talk about old magic, this is actually technically what I consider old magic, which is the Goodly Spellbook. I can't find the skull, unfortunately, so I may be using some of the bones in my rune resonance. Oh, that is awesome, because anybody who uses that, especially since the bones are in there, they would definitely be able to work with that, with Serpent's energy. The Goodly Spellbook. The Goodly Spellbook, old spells for modern problems, Lady Passion, High Priestess, and Divoi, High Priestess, Coven, Olden Wider. No, this book goes over fucking everything, and I mean, I keep forgetting that I'm not filming on TikTok, so I keep trying to hide my cigarette. Let's see, they've got the quarters, the elements. They have, you got skills, you got music, you've got art, you got the holidays, you've got defensive magic, you've got recipes, there's a, you got repulsion spells. And the cool thing is, the reason I love this book is because if you look under here, they have priorities. They have, like, ways that it's practiced or slight utter changes that they've used to it, to where, say, if you couldn't get this herb or that herb, because you can substitute herbs, you just have to find an herb that has the same properties and kind of the same energy, depending on how you do your workings. To get rid of unwanted guests, to avert the evil eye. That will be posted in the description, or that will be posted in the Discord as well some point today. But yeah, like, I mean, and when I mean music, they have it to where, where's it at? They have all different types of numerology. Come on. Where'd you go? I should really look through most of these books. They have the ways that you can step and raise power depending on which way you're directing and depending on if you have a group. An amazing, amazing book. And then another book, the last book that I'll go over, this book right here. The Real Witch's Book of Spells and Rituals. It's by Kate West. Yeah, it's by Kate West. And I tend to go back to this book multiple times. Just to kind of and I encourage everybody to do that too. Refresh the things that you're going to do. Now, with defensive magic, depending on if you practice Appalachian folk magic, one of the number one people they'll go to is War Water. What they're not going to tell you is if you use War Water in a situation that you were not valid in and or you were not the righteous one in, it will actually backfire on you. 100% on you. There are other things that you can also do, but it's technically slightly called advanced magic because you are calling on spirits, I'll say. Now, when I say spirits, I'm not necessarily talking about a human spirit, more along the lines of an inhuman spirit and or, well, there are multiple other magical terms for them. But you can make deals, not necessarily deals. You can have agreements with certain spirits to where if somebody does fuck with you, they go and fuck with them for a while. There are a lot of things that you can do that a lot of people don't talk about. Now, I understand why a lot of people don't talk about them because we have a lot of stupid people online. Like, somebody put a disclaimer, because they had to, in my video on the death water, and they're like, no, please do not drink this. Death water could also be used. Now, death water is not going to actually, depending on how you use it, it could be used for death. I would never use it like that, and the simple fact, why, no. I would not want that energy on me of taking somebody's life magically. That's just a level that I'm not there with. No. But there are things that they don't talk about, that I don't hear anybody talk about, of how you can trap spirits in crystals if you do it properly. I would never encourage that, unless it's like a negative spirit. But I've recently realized that I've reprogrammed myself because of all the videos I was seeing online of like, wow, I don't think this, and then revolutionary moment that I had yesterday. Um, but when it comes to techno magic, there are multiple things you can do. You can obviously bless your actual profile, bless your camera, bless your phone in itself. And then, like I said, when it comes to your videos and when it comes to your, at least your profile picture, have a sigil or some type of symbol that protects you, boosts you, something like that, to make sure that somebody's not fucking with you. Because apparently there are just a lot of bored people out there that just legit just want to fuck with people. Um, and it's becoming a menace to the point where people just don't want to be on social media anymore. Um, which I also encourage people to like check out. Like I didn't even know if I was going to be doing this today. I've been experimenting with crystals and energy working. Oh, that is awesome! I did not know this. Have you ever heard of... Holy shit, I need to look at these more. Have you ever heard of something called vampire... No, I have not. The astral plane is like space. There is no up or down. It's like that. I think a lot of people tell me otherwise. What I think it is with the astral realm is I think a lot of it's different depending on the person, but I also know I've seen and read conversations of people like I've seen people in a live astral projection while going live, while talking, and I'm like, you're not astral projecting. Astral projecting is pushing your soul or pushing your spirit out of your body. Now, before you go and try to astral project, obviously the first thing you need to work on is protections, because especially if you're having somebody fuck with you and like you're witchy wise, if they're throwing shit at you, the last thing you want to do is to go astral project and not be protected. Because what... See what I mean? I mean, you're basically an empty vessel when you astral project. So you need to make sure that you have protections on your physical body to make sure nothing can jump in. And that also shows that there are... When I say this, I'm not talking about all witches online. But there are a lot of witches who portray that they're really, really powerful, but they can't do some of the basic shit. For example, if I was going to fuck with somebody, I would not throw them a hex. I would not throw them a spell. I would not throw them a curse. I would throw them an astral leech. Because you can't get rid of an astral leech very easily. And the only way to fully get rid of them, besides like doing a cleansing every day, is to fucking find somebody who can remove it for you. Major protecting and cleansings when you return, because you can pick up hitchhikers. Yes, exactly. And with hitchhikers, that's not just an astral. That's on any sacred place, whether that's a crossroad, a graveyard, a cemetery, especially the crossroads, though. Be very careful with working with the crossroads. You can pick up hitchhikers. And not all hitchhikers are good. Some hitchhikers can be very cool, and you can learn a couple of things. And that's what I'm trying to say. I haven't been able to figure out a way to, like, warn people without scaring them, but also educate them at the same way. But when you are on the astral plane, there are multiple ones. I would not necessarily make deals with people. And, since we're talking about the whole astral thing, do not fall for the people online who are telling you that they can come to you and they can access your Akasha records. No, they cannot. The information they're telling you, it's bullshit. Why and why do I say this? Your Akasha records are your records. Imagine this being your Akasha record, right? No, here we go. Most of us grew up watching the OG Charmed. What happened when somebody outside of the Hollowell family tried to touch the book? It went the opposite way. Your Akasha records are the exact same way. And it doesn't make sense to me why people think that they have it in their heads that they can access other people's fucking Akasha records, because that doesn't make sense. Now, there are some people who do not believe in Akasha records due to the fact that Akasha records also do stem for and heavily inlay with starseeds, which I'm also... My brain has recently just been completely opened up to a lot of more possibilities. You're essentially leaving your body behind, not interacting, and can travel to other realms without being completely leaving your body, but it's not easily done, and it's unfortunately for some. Yes, that is what I call more along the lines of jumping the candle, holy shit. Jumping the hedge, and or journeying, but I have to watch saying that because some people say that it's from fucking shamanism, and most shamans will tell you that their practices are not closed. It's your spiritual book of shadows. Exactly. So tell me how the Akasha records are formed. I have no idea, and if you ever meet somebody who tells you how the Akasha records are formed, I'm pretty sure they're a starseed or a starseed believer. What I mean by that is I have no idea how they were made. I do know what they are, and essentially they are. It's a book for you of everything and all of your lives that you have been through, that you will go through, and basically anything else that could and or will happen to you. It is in that book. Um, Now, most people, they don't necessarily call it a book, but it basically, what I used to consider is to be the downloads, or say, if you were claircognizant, you would be able to access your own Akasha records. Now, I had a theory that accessing our Akasha records was just the connected consciousness. So that's one of the reasons for one, inventing wise, you have some of the things that basically gave us phones now. You have things that were invented in different times or in different places of the world at the exact same time in a time frame that these people should not have been able to meet. It's one of the reasons they say that like there's no such thing as an original idea, because we're connected to the connected consciousness. Scientifically, technically it's pseudoscience, but scientifically they basically stated that our brains are a giant computer. Well, we're connected. Everything around us, they're repeating patterns in animals and skeletons and microscopic on a cellular level. They're the same things repeating over and over again. So it would make sense that it's one of the reasons I changed my mind with quantum healing. I'd never heard of it. But from the stories and the testimonies that I've heard from people, it's legit a real thing. Um, Now, with the starseed thing, the only reason I still don't like the aspect of it is, for one, it's isolation, as in it's selective in isolation, as in there's always this certain amount of numbers of who they are, and there's like waves. But if you actually deep dive into the origins of that, it it to me it doesn't make sense, because there's some Bible aspects, there's some Hindu aspects, there's some, all different types of fucking aspects mishmashed together. It's your soul's contract, your blueprint. Yes, that is what I've heard too, and that is how I believe that it is your, basically it's your blueprint. It's everything. It's like a star chart times infinity. Um, Akasha records is your soul contract. That's my understanding of it, at least. Quantum healing was one of the first things I learned with Reiki. I've heard of Reiki, but I've never experimented with it. And since I started having the time shifts and like major ones, and then I've had other people also hit me up that they're going through some of the same things. And I'm like, okay, well, how is this connected to witchcraft? Then I go back to the original conversation that I had with Nicholas, the author of the 101 Crystal Basics. Um, in that interview, he reminded me and also taught me things that I did not know, that we are surrounded by crystals. Um, Plaster, sheetrock, all has quartz and other different types of minerals and crystals in it. Asphalt, cell phones, everything. So we are constantly being surrounded by crystals while at the same time using different frequencies. Um, when I first started into witchcraft, and the partner at the time that I have, we were basically we were learning at the same pace, basically. We came up with basically how the Fae, and that basically imagine the Fae are on a slight different frequency or vibration than we are. Same with lower or higher. But I hate using terms like lower and higher, because in the world there's not really black and white. Like in nature, there's no see what I mean? Nature is loving and cruel. Magic has to be the same way. But we're also into a new era when it comes to magic, because 1500 years ago they didn't have electricity. 10,000 years ago, from as far as we know, they did not have anything like we do now. Um, there is another sigil site which will also be linked with this video in the descriptions. Um, a guy who is also an occultist, and I think two other people helped him build it. It actually uses AI. So with this specific one, depending on how fast you type, is depending on the design you're going to get. Starseed stuff is very picky me attitude. It's similar to the whole biblical rapture. It really is, and that's where some of it came from. I had an idea that if someone sends you something as an entity, don't blame him directly. Trap it, and you can learn about your entities. Yes, you were so smart. A lot of people do not know that. If somebody actually does send you, like, say, a servitor. Now, before I say any of this, obviously you're not going to have this weird-looking creature physically in the world, like, come crawling up your steps. But if you manage to come across something like that, you can capture it. And depending on what you can do with energy work and spiritual shit, you can find information. Now, true enough, I don't think it would be a servitor, due to the fact that most servitors, they have, like, one mission in life. Once that mission is complete, they're done. Or unless you do it like a mojo bag to where you're feeding it, you're constantly giving energy, therefore it is alive. These things right here, like a golem. A golem would be perfect to create on your property, but obviously we're not going to be able to create it due to, I don't think it is. I don't know if this conversation has happened before, but I've heard people say Judas mysticism is closed. I don't know, but that is from Judas mysticism. Another debunking that I'm about to do, and I will piss some people off, and I apologize in advance. The Dybbuk box is not a thing. The story and everything like that, I know the story, I've kept up with it, it's fake, it's bullshit. Now, with that, could you make what is known as a Dybbuk box? Yes and no. Could you trap a spirit in a box? Yes. Could you possibly trap a demonic entity in a box? Maybe. Is there a way that you can tell me if someone is trying to or curse me? From here, no. But I can tell you two things that I do. They're these surefire ways. Let me make sure I did not miss another comment. I love your theory, Kiva. They send me down rabbit holes. But if you have a deck of playing cards, like regular old playing cards, and or a deck of tarot cards, this is what you're going to do. With the tarot cards, you're going to take all the major arcanas out and set them aside. With the playing cards, you're going to take the jokers out. So you're going to shuffle. We're going to stick with we'll stick with the playing cards. You're going to shuffle those cards long AF. As much as possible, you need to make sure all your energy is in there. Don't really necessarily think on if I'm cursed, right? Then you are going to make 3 piles of 10. But you are going to stop in each pile once you get to an ace. And then go to the next pile. If you get an ace, stop. If you don't, then continue to the number 10 and then stop. Now, if you get 1 ace, it means somebody's talking shit about you. If you get 2 aces, as in 2 piles, and or 2 aces in your 1 pile, basically somebody is talking shit, and they tried throwing something to you, but it did not actually stick. And then if you get 3, basically all 3 of those, and you are currently being worked on, and or you just got through worked on. If that were to happen, obviously go about, if you want to do a return to sender, however you do that, and then cleanse. You want to cleanse your property, you want to cleanse yourself, and you want to kind of throw at least 1 to 2 things newer into the mix. The other one is an egg cleansing. Now, I have heard a lot of different varieties of this. For one, the egg should not be ice cold. I actually did an experiment with this. I see why. It needs to be room temperature. The water also needs to be room temperature. You can add salt if you want to. I don't. That's up to you. And then you're going to crack it. All right, before you crack it, you're going to rub it from your head, from here, basically all the way down your body and all the way up your body. And then you're going to crack it, pop it in there, and let it sit for about 5 minutes and then come back to it. Depending on how it looks is depending on if you can actually tell if somebody has actually hexed you. Now, I know there's this more trendier one where you light a match and you just throw it in water. I fucking cannot stand that one. There are too many different varieties that can go to that. The reason that I like the egg and I like the cards is, to me, they're more of a controlled experiment or a controlled environment versus matches. No, it really doesn't, and I've tried all 3 of these techniques. Now, the card one, I actually did get from Witch Bomb. I love her. I wish she would come back. I know she's probably busy doing a lot of things, but I did learn her from that, and that is a go-to to me all the time. Yes, and it also can be rigged. Now, with this, we also have to ask ourselves, for one, Do you actually know a witch that can actually and or even has the ability to fully curse you and or hex you? Okay. Depending on how that answer is, we also have to go into the times, and I actually had somebody comment on my egg experience that blew my fucking mind, which was, what if some of the results that some of these people are getting are not actually curses or hexes, but it's their fear and anxiety that is showing up in the egg? Blew my fucking mind, because that falls under what? Self-hexing. Me, I don't curse, no way, dude. It's fast and they will understand their lesson. Exactly. With me, I've gotten away from hexing because to me, hexing, depending on how you do it, either one, you're just going to send that motherfucker through a shit ton of spiral, or it's a slap on the wrist, right? You want a retribution spell. You want something that is going to repeat over and over and over and over again until the person learns their lesson. Once they learn their lesson, it's complete. I also encourage, if you are into baneful magic, to put what expiration dates on your spells. Why is this? Depending on how you do your magic, you're still constantly having to give energy and give energy and give energy and give energy. Oh, some experienced witches can read the energy. So even if the attack was not successful whatsoever, we can be able to figure out who it is. Specifically on Witch Talk, and I understand what I'm about to say can go multiple ways. I don't trust people who use a shit ton of filters. What I mean by this is to where you can barely see their face whatsoever. Now, the makeup one, stuff like that, that's okay. But if you have someone who is adding filter on top of filter on top of filter on top of filter, to me, that's saying one thing. You are hiding something, and I don't trust you. I want to change and progress. I definitely look into retributions. Now, they are kind of hard to find because they're not really, a lot of people, they didn't label them retribution spells. They're more along the terms of karma spells. Now, my understanding, and I used to use this a lot, and now that I've gotten older, to me it doesn't even make sense, which was, I believed that when I did believe in karma, which I no longer do, or not in the same concept as it is, I believed that, and I still do this a little bit to this day, which is if I'm going to do baneful working, I'm going to do a couple of good things to throw that out there before I do the baneful working. But that was before I learned that I'm a conduit, especially if I'm doing custom magic. That's been one of my most popular things, which is how do you do custom baneful magic? I actually don't like doing baneful magic that much because I cannot stand the energy of it. It is stagnant, it is icky, it is just, no. Yes, there is one with Hecate. I use it. You can find that on Llewellyn's. Just go to Google or whatever web browser you use and type in Spell-a-Day Almanac. It'll bring up their website and just type in Justice Spell and it'll pull that up. And basically with that one, you give offerings and then you explain the situation to her and she takes it into her hands. But yeah, there are things like that, and a lot of people, especially online, they will tend to kind of make videos that plants a seed. What I mean by this is, and I've used this as it's the best thing that I could use. If I randomly walk up to a stranger on the side of the fucking road or the sidewalk, and I pick up a rock, and then for some random fucking reason I pull out an egg from my pocket, and I hand him the rock, or I hand them the rock, and then I crack the egg in front of them, mutter some random shit, and then be like, congratulations, now you're cursed, and just walk away. Whether they believe it or not, what's going to wind up happening, depending on their social structure, or their mental state, what's going to wind up happening is the next small little thing that they have of bad luck. Dropping their keys down a drain. Leaving their wallet at their house when they're already at work. Your brain and how most brains work, one of the reasons why verbal abuse is so, trigger warning, verbal abuse is so dangerous is because once our brains, if you repeat something over and over and over again, your brain's going to start believing it's true, which is where mental health and trauma and shit like that come from. That's basically unprogramming us. We're having to unprogram our brains. So with that, the way that with that being how our brains work, I walk up to that person, they think they're hexed. In reality, I dropped an egg in front of them, handed them a rock, and I don't know, said fucking two lyrics from a Harry Potter song, right? 2 weeks later, that one small little thing because their brains connected it to every other stupid mundane thing that happens to us, all of us, no matter if we're rich or poor, the bad luck things, they're going to connect that with that. So what's going to wind up happening is it snowballs or it starts growing. And what used to be a tiny, tiny seed is now an entire fucking jungle that is basically weaving its way through every aspect of that person's mind. In reality, I did absolutely nothing to them except self-hex them. As in, I planted the seed and then they focused on it, thus feeding into that, thus hexing themselves. And a lot of people do it a hell of a lot more often than they think. But due to social media, due to how all the videos are, oh my God, somebody's hexed me. Are you sure it's not your anxiety? Because I do this. With anxiety and ADHD mixed, we tend to hyper-focus and spiral. Some of the conversations that my partner has had to calm me down from do not even make logistic sense. And I know they do not make logistic sense, but the brain is a very powerful thing. And so many people don't understand that. And for one, I was always taught, oh, actually, that's what I wanted to talk to y'all about. If you do, say you actually recently just got into a witch war with somebody online, and they successfully hexed you, do not go and make a video saying that they hexed you. Do the opposite. What do I mean by that? If somebody has hexed me, right? Or I know somebody's intending to hex me. Obviously, this is an example. If I know somebody's intending to hex me, I'm going to make the next week look like it is the best fucking day of my life. Why is that? It's going to piss them off 10 times more. Do not give them the satisfaction of knowing if it worked or not. Always leave them guessing. And so many people don't understand that. Now, yes, I have went full online and straight, exactly, reverse psychiatry. It works every time, especially with bullies. Remember, a bully or a troll, the less you react to them, the angrier and more trollier they become, because it's a control tactic. They don't have control in their lives, so they want to go online and nitpick and control everybody else's. Expect to come home and see it live. Hello, yes, I did. I went a little bit today, kind of got away from me. Literally, I woke up at like 8 something and I looked down at my phone like 2 seconds later and it was going on fucking 1 o'clock. Instagram fake live vibes. Exactly. Fake the hell out of that shit. Because why would you give them the interaction? And then on top of that, like I said, when I made the spectral video, when all the fucking drama originally really broke out in certain communities, most all dramas online, they are spectral evidence, as in the same damn thing that happened with the Salem witch trial. With that, though, the person that tends to hex you, or the person who's, we're going to say stalking, because there are some people online that just get way too obsessed. They'll know it. They wind up giving themselves away, and they don't know it. I find things like Witch Wars. They really are. They're extremely immature. And, like, obviously, I've been through them when I was younger. But I'm about to be fucking 29 April the 4th. Why do I have time to do this? Like, no. And half the time, that's what I wanted to say. When it comes to drama, even if a person is not involved in it, look who is stirring the pot. Look who is controlling the narrative. Look who is pointing who in which direction, and look the exact opposite direction. That's what I don't understand about people online, because I'm like, y'all are all, and I'm honestly gonna name drop. Fuck it, I'll name drop. Granny Druid, Celtic Hex. 2 people primarily. They are people that are extremely bored, that do not have a lot of things going on in their lives. So what do? They go online and try to start drama, because why? It makes them feel like they're strong and confident and authoritating, when in reality they're sad, weak people. But why would anyone want to hex you for? The only time that I've successfully been smacked in the face with a hex, there was a creator who's actually here primarily on YouTube and Facebook, who joined TikTok. They were the first person that I'd really see start dropping hard facts about mountain witches and or Appalachian folk magic, conjuring, granny magic. So, without fully deep diving, because normally if I come across a witchy profile that I like, I won't just follow them right off the bat. I will watch multiple different types of videos periodically to see where they're at. And I had duetted her and pushed her up, basically. I told most of my following, yo, go follow her, she's amazing. And then she kind of commented something, because I was talking about the disco ball effect, which some people actually, Kate West, is where I got it from, this book, which is the disco ball effect. Basically, that all the energy that we worship and or we work with, specifically divine energy, it's a disco ball. So it's all the same energy, but depending on the person, depending on the race, depending on the belief, depending on the region, they're going to show themselves as something that our brains can wrap around. For an example, we'll say back with Jesus Christ. If he were to randomly just pop up in Japan, they're not gonna know that he is divine. See what I mean? But if he were to show up over there as something of their culture, it makes more sense. Well, she commented on my video and she's like, no, that's not how it is. That's colonizing mentality. And I'm like, and then in the process of that, she started telling people that they couldn't call themselves granny witches or Ozark witches. And I'm saying it was her because at the point in time, shortly after that, went outside to hang some clothes up, and I watch outside around my house because I am allergic to bees and or a wasp. So fucking I went out there and I went to throw a pair of pants up, and the motherfucker came and it hit me direct here on my face. Was not expecting it, came out of fucking nowhere. And it wasn't until I talked to people and they're like, it sounds like it's a shut the fuck up spell. Because it did. It shut me the fuck up. I couldn't fucking post for like 3 days. So, people are petty. Like, I've heard of people full on trying to hex their entire families all because they disagreed in the comment section. Fire Lotus, I've always prepared protection within my pieces of jewelry because no one needs that negativity, but only upon request I'll add more to it. Oh, I love that. Seriously, I love that idea. Also, if you're not already, go follow Lavenderite Wolf. He makes amazing jewelry in so many ways, and just in general, like, amazing. And okay, BRB, but yeah, things like that. And then we need to talk about a mirror box. Mirror boxes are really, really great. They're not necessarily easy to make. But, and if you're in the closet, give them more accent than some reason. Way New Witch hex people. I also think with the hexing that we're seeing now, and I don't know if this is a psychic ability, I haven't prepared much protection, but I don't know many witches, and I don't make content, so. See, you're good then, you're good. See, with me, I already knew, and I talked to my partner with it, because me going from, my little corner on my Facebook page to going to TikTok, I knew that there's a risk of me primarily getting the evil eye on me, basically not wanting me to succeed. But, I mean, I'm in the public eye. So, like, obviously there's going to be some fuckery going on. But luckily, like I said, knock on wood, nobody's ever really fully tried. And if they have, they did not succeed. And that's one of the reasons I make my videos the way that I video. Like, y'all know I've said things about Witchfoot, Ryan, and the Quantum Healer. Already messaged the Quantum Healer apologizing, and I'll be messaging Witchfoot and Ryan very soon, also apologizing because I misread their personalities. I misread their profiles, and to be honest, it was also a little bit of shadow work. I was also slightly jealous that they were fucking growing the way that they were growing. I realized that yesterday, and any practitioner that I've ever had a disagree with or an argument on that app, what a lot of people do not know until now is I will actually go and message them. I've emailed them, I have messaged them, and I'm like, look, I'm sorry. Either, you know, there was something misconstrued or like we agreed to disagree, but I'm sorry, it shouldn't have went that far, and I apologize. And the responses that I've gotten from some of them have been shocking because they're like, holy shit, thank you, you just made my day. Like, that's never happened before. And it's, for one, that's how I am. For two, how am I supposed to be, or how am I supposed to get online and portray myself as a witch and a teacher and a healer or a spiritual person if I'm just letting my ego completely control everything? It doesn't make sense. Ego and our spirituality and social media, one of the main reasons they're conflicting right now is because social media basically feeds our ego. The more followers we get, the more powerful we feel, the more like we have a community, we're a leader. And depending on where their morals are, they wind up getting lost in that. chip bag can be similar with reflective. Oh, I did not even think about that with the mirror spell. Holy shit, I did not think about that. Plus, it would also give me an excuse to feed my chip addiction. And yes, y'all heard that right. I am obsessed with eating potato chips. I realized today I'm a personal pleaser but selfish. I get really upset when I can stipulation and when people are upset and unhappy with me. I'm watching shadow working weird. Welcome back, and yes, I have definitely, honestly, I've also been going through shadow work, but not like all the intense shit that they're talking online. If y'all did not know this, shadow work does not have to be where you're like deep diving into your trauma. Shadow work can be the realizations that we're having now of like, oh shit, wait, now I understand the reason that I reacted to this conversation. And once you realize that, as long as you go from that day onward trying to go about that situation differently, if it comes back up, that's growing, learning, and changing. Just a random thought. LOL, that's how it came. And it can be done using a trash bag. I do it with bonfire spells. Oh, see, I love this. This is why I love our community. We help each other, teach each other so many things all the time. But yes, mirror spells can be really, really fun. Social media is quite ego-driven. I care for my followers and do my best to provide facts in my post. Exactly. And I've had moments where I've had to step back. Like, I'm also one of those people where I suck at number value. So, like, I finally got to see a video that showed what 25,000 people look like. And I don't understand why they're following me. But, same. And there are moments where I've had to, step back and be like, look, you're not a god. That's one of the reasons, if you realize, I kind of stopped doing those spicier videos where I'm just popping the fuck off. Because, yes, did it need to be said? Yes. But a lot of people also may have took that as I'm trying to invalidate somebody's spiritual belief, and I'm not. But there's a difference than actually sharing your spiritual beliefs and completely making shit up for views, likes, and follows. And that's the thing that sucks about fucking TikTok. And for anybody who is a TikToker, if you were getting tired of the app, there's the witchyfriend.com. It's called witchyfriend.com website. Go check that out. And there's also YouTube. YouTube now, when the Panorama first broke out, they had it to where, like, you could not go live on your phone until you were at 1,000 followers. They changed all of that. Just yesterday, I unlocked the ability to actually have, like, posts and, like, feeds on here. So I can ask y'all questions of, like, what would you like to see on this video, and I would go for that. Now, if y'all have questions, let me know. I had someone message me yesterday that's going to be moving and to filming and making educational videos. And they wanted tips, and I will definitely share them because I figured all of this out basically going about it every single day trying to figure it out. Some people hex for good reasons. Example, abuse, like I'm doing something. Yes, it is, and I also wanted to talk about that. Thank you so much. Have you ever seen a nymph before? If so, what exactly does it look like? No, I have not, but I've heard stories of them in the mountains. Although I don't know if they're technically nymphs. Actually, there are two things that I will be talking about. Thank you so much for bringing that up. For one, with hexing and stuff like that, yes, obviously abuse. But if you were in a living situation with somebody who is very toxic, do not hex them until you can remove yourself from that situation. Okay? The reason that is you don't know how that hex is going to make this person do. You don't know how... One of the number one things people don't understand about hexing or any type of magic, before you do magic, try to see where the person's mental state is. Because if someone is mentally unstable and you throw a hex at them, it can completely set them off, and it can go really, really bad. And I speak this from personal experience. The person is completely okay, and he is still alive today, but it was one of my biggest lessons of, oh shit, you need to think about these things before you do it. Exactly. Distance yourself if you can. There are multiple things you can do that's not a hex that kind of works the same thing. Not bonding. Binding. There we go. Binding is a very good one because, now, true enough, it can go horribly wrong. All magic can. The second thing, if anybody tells you that you cannot practice Celtic magic and or Scottish magic because you are not living on their land, go tell them to go fuck themselves. And why is this? because if anybody did fucking went to school in geology class and history class, we would know what? At one point in time, all the continents were joined together. Okay? The Appalachian Mountain Range are the same mountains that also were the same mountain range that made up fucking Ireland and Scotland before they separated. So literally, the land that is here is the same land that is there. And if you ever go to the Appalachian Mountains and you've ever been to Ireland or Scotland, you'll know that. Um, can you relay the stories of what they told you about the mountain nymphs? So the story that I heard, they used the term, not gremlin, but goblin. Technically it would be a nymph. It was a very small thing, and they lived actually up like in the mountains in one of the mountain houses, I think is what they're called. And fucking they heard a commotion. Weird shit started happening around their house, and they heard a commotion, and fucking they had an attic, and the steps came down. As the steps came down, they saw this weird grayish, short, very, very short, grayish, gray as in like hair. His hair was gray. And it started charging at them to the point where they locked it in a room. What happened to that after that, I don't know. I was only told this story through like 2 other people that were there. But now I have personally had a lot of weird experiences when I lived in Anniston and Oxford, which is at the foothills, and Lineville, which is at the foothills of the Appalachians. And we went paranormal investigating. I used to have a blog about it. There's a lot of creepy shit up there. I'm not even gonna lie. No, there's no fucking mutants or anything like that. Creatures and elementals and all things like that. Yes, there are. Okay, that is an excellent point when doing a hex because it's currently origins getting hexed. Let them grief come back to torture me. Why my Scottish blood loves the mountains. Him, not me. I'm Celtic blood and Pennsylvania Dutch. I'll tell people I practice what I want and what I want. Yes! Yes, but doing something but not good for good reasons is still not good. We are better than that. Yes, we are. But, yeah, just before you throw something, and I learned this. I swear to God, I need to build a bookshelf. Ah! I'm about to have a book. One of the first chapters in this book, he goes over that. He goes, it's the responsibility of a witch of when to just let mundane take its place and or magical. And then not to mention, you also have to realize, if you work with your ancestors, there are ancestors that will completely, like, be like, nope, not having this. What locations are you talking about? Speaking of mutants, have you ever known anyone to see a humanoid reptile? No, I have not, and the locations that I'm talking about are upstate Alabama. Or up north Alabama. They're the foothills to the Appalachians, which I did not know that growing up there. And or living there, but there are a lot of creepy locations. And just... I don't know, there are some areas in the mountains that I went to, the energy is just extremely, like, intense, which will probably lead us either today, I may do it, I may keep talking, I don't know. I want to do an episode on, vortexes and other magical things like that, but I may do that in a podcast due to the fact that I'll be able to have a phone to bring some things up. Because there is, what is it called? I shared it in the Discord, and I think I shared it on my Facebook page. There is a website that I found thanks to TikTok, which is vortexhunter.org, I think. It shows you places, it shows you a map of where all these vortexes are, whether that's hauntings, whether that's straight up vortex. And normally where these places are, a lot of creepy, unexplained things happen. And I mean, you mix all of those together. Cryptoids, or cryptids, aliens, extraterrestrials, spirits, paranormal, ghosts, everything in between. But I also believe when it comes to like nymphs and stuff like that, do I believe they're here? Yes, 100%. Do I believe that we're always going to see them? No. They will show themselves to you. But again, I haven't really spoke that much on that before. Okay, sweet, and I will, if I have to, when you DM me, if I don't remember it by then, I'll go into, I will go into the Discord and I'll grab it and send it to you. It's a really cool, interesting site because it's not just here in America; it's all over the place. Have you ever watched Heller? Is that on Netflix? I think I have. I've heard of it. I don't know if I've actually watched it or not. Um, but no, there are some very interesting places, and it goes in. Some of them are connected to ley lines, but others aren't. And there's a lot of them in the desert. I will state that much. But in that map, you can actually view other places as well, not just here in America. And then if that interests you, what I'm about to say was technically created by a musician prisoner who was basically about to die. But there is what is known as the blood. It was, you can find it on YouTube and their website. I think you'd like it if you like the interesting stuff you're talking about right now. Oh, sweet. I definitely will. Let me write that down before I forget it too. Um, oh my God. Aliens? No, it was not talking about aliens. I have no idea what I was talking about. Oh, that's gonna be so cool. With the Niagara Falls visit, I just saw that comment. Um, the blood pentagram. There is what is known as a blood pentagram. That there's technically two, depending on if you want to include Canada or not in that. But it's like 5 to 6 locations to where basically a lot of death has taken place, whether that is natural, man-made, or either in between. A lot of blood has been shed there, and some of these locations, there are a lot of creepy shit around them as well. Loyal, but it's not weakness. It is my strength. No, I agree. Trust me, I think everybody is under the... a lot of people are under the conclusion of, like, when it comes to the hexing thing, I know we keep going back to that, I also think it's a flex because there are a lot of videos that I've seen online. I didn't personally feel any energy behind it, and most videos I can. Very well. Oh, thank you so much. Um, but I can feel energies behind videos. And there are certain hexes that I've seen that just, and for the love of God, there are more hexes than the fucking lemon thing. Saying that much, but yeah. Um, why do that time? Why are you... I don't understand it. I'll never understand it besides bored petty people. But I'm hoping the video that I uploaded, hopefully it will at least do something to prevent some of this shit. Because it's getting a little bit out of hand. Um, and I don't like things affecting my personal life because that's when I get involved. I'm not experienced enough to hex, but I have done pretty petty energy, but don't think I would hex often. I mean, obviously within any situation, there are moments where hexing is like the perfect thing to do, but I would... and also with that, hexing does not always have to be an actual hex. What do I mean by this? If you know somebody who... they're those weird people where they don't like good things happening to them, do that. Do a blessing on them. That's what I'm saying. So many people focus on the baneful aspect of like wrecking somebody's life. Why? On top of that, we also need to realize that because with the hexing drama and shit like that, it's also went into like these people have mass profiled reports and shit. We all need to realize that some of these people who are using these platforms, it's their life. As in, if they don't sell things or if they don't make business, then they don't have fucking money. And to be able to have that yanked down within 24 hours, all because some poor, lonely person, not poor as in money-wise, just poor in general, sad person is upset at somebody, why? Oh no, like if somebody did a complaint spell on me, I would die of embarrassment. Exactly! You can wreck a negative person's life with love. Exactly. And so many people don't understand that. Like, there are multiple things you can do that would be considered a hex, but you don't have to harm them. Or anything like that. And, I mean, in my honest opinion, there's too much hate in the fucking world right now as it is, with the wars going on and everything like that. We don't need this toxicity. If anything, this should be the prime time for witches, especially in spring, even if they are baneful witches, or that's all they do. Why don't we come together and actually start lightening things up? I mean, that's because right now, most people who don't even believe in witchcraft, they don't take us serious because of witch talk. Because, I mean, you had national articles talking about that fucking people were trying to hex the moon and Fae. And then come to find out, it all started because of a fucking troll who was bored. And people took it serious. TikTok is a game of telephone. Unless you bring receipts, it's they did this, but yet it's spectral evidence. That's why I don't play into it. If I come across somebody toxic, I'm going to block them. That's my best magical defense, the block button. Some people in the witchy community do not know how the world being a person. They really don't, and it's sad, but it's true. It really doesn't. And then we're also having our community being hit with all these scammers and everything like that. By the way, people, if you see somebody in a live, and I'm gonna use this necklace for that. If you see somebody in a live doing this with their fucking pendulum, don't go to them. If you see someone say that they can remove a demon from you, don't go to them. They're scammers. And it's actually hurting the witchy community. And everybody, when I say that, they're like, well, why? Okay, say you're not a witch at all. Say you are extremely new to this, and you go to get your first tarot reading. But it's a scammer. So not only did you just get scammed out of money, but you either A, got told everything you wanted to get told, or B, you got told some really, really nasty, messed up, fucked up shit. Yes, there are readers out there doing that are scammers. And then after that one experience, you'll probably never want to try another again because you're going to think everybody else is the same way when we're not. Like the person offering paranormal readings. Exactly. Like, I've seen so many stupid readings and shit like that. I'm just like, you people. There are people that fall for it, though. $200 for a swing of a pendulum. I am in the wrong line of duty. No, I couldn't do that anyways. I'm too much of a fucking... I couldn't do that. I'm too good of a person to just scam somebody over. Completely. No. No. Like, if somebody comes to me to do baneful working, even if I take that money, there have been multiple occasions where I've sent it back to them. I'm like, yo, I'm sorry. I can direct you to the witch that can do this for you, but I will not do this. And the reason that is because, and this is what blows my mind the most, these practitioners that are doing this are also practitioners that are supposed to be working with all of these, like, great and powerful deities. Do you honestly think a deity is going to let you do that? For free, I'll teach you how to swing your own pendulum, how to make one. Yep, $200 for that. Yep. There are people that are fucking crazy. Like, some of the prices, I understand a witch decides their prices. It's just like the conversation we've had before about the money spell. I've seen people, especially before the whole eBay thing got ripped down, and I've seen still websites about it, where people are charging $1,000 for a money spell. And I'm like, that's a paradox, because it doesn't make sense. Why would you charge somebody $1,000 for a money spell when they're coming to you because they don't have enough money? Also, with that, to all my people that have Amazon wish list on your profiles, when you do a prosperity spell, and this came to me in a way that I was not expecting earlier this year. When you do a prosperity spell, also add your list to it. Do you know any instance where someone wanted to work with a spirit or deity and the spirit or deity just flat out said no? Yeah, that's happened a lot of times. Deities, obviously they're divine, but they will refuse to work with people 100%. I've had my own ancestors come to me and they're like, look, what you're doing right now, you on your own. We're going to be over here doing our own little thing. And you know the saying that I was always told, which is, when you lie down with dogs, you're going to wake up with fleas. And the same is true. I've had moments, well, I haven't personally had moments, but I've heard moments where somebody did do something to the point where it severed hello, where it almost kind of severed their communication with their ancestors because their ancestors just walked the fuck away. Um, okay, I think we really need more conversations about other options for divination like there are out there, but it's nice to hear actual. It really is. It really is. Yes, it's happening to me. Ha ha ha. Lucky told me no. Aw. But yeah, we really do because there are so many different types of divinations out there. There's egg reading, there's tea leaves. There's my personal favorite, which is really fun to make too, especially if you can get like the pearl dust and shit like that. Create black water and then put it in a bowl or a jar and scry in it. There's mirror scrying, which can slightly be dangerous. I will say that. If you have any type of sensory thing or anything like that, some of the scryings can fuck you up depending on what you're doing. Someone said to me when I was little that I was reincarnated as an angel. I was like 9 or 10 old. It freaked me out. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I'm not talking about ancestors. I'm talking about spirits and deities. Yes, yes, I have. With deities and spirits, multiple times with spirits. Because people now it does depending on what magic you do. There are some people that legit will dominate a spirit. Am I going to do that? Fuck no. But there are people that can, and spirits they have their choice, yes or no. And they'll flat out just refuse. Um, and I'm completely okay with that. Like I respect that. I've been refused twice by 2 land spirits. Shit, I still have a land spirit on my property who has never. He won't even acknowledge my existence. It's like, you know, when you have siblings and they spend an entire day, um, like pretending you're invisible. Yeah, that's what it does every single day of my life. Mm. With that being said, though, I think I'm gonna cut this. I would say cut this short, but it's like an hour and 30 minutes. um, but yeah, I think I'm gonna cut this short for today. As far as I know, depending on the weather, that we're having tomorrow, and depending on how it affects us, will depending on if I will actually go live or not. Because I don't know if I think we're supposed to get it. We're supposed to start getting some late this night, and then tomorrow it's supposed to hit us. This is the same storm system. If you were in Texas and Louisiana, I hope and pray you were safe. Um, you know, so, Bubbers, there's a window there. You okay? Yeah, you just bashed your head into the window. Um, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I will talk a little bit longer. I definitely will. I forgot. I didn't realize that you had just popped in, and the lateness of today, it's screwing with me. Um, but yeah, so I don't know if I will be in. If you marry an educated woman, it will make an ego in her that will run the family and even the dog. Oh, I love that. And very true. Um, but yeah, depending on the weather tomorrow, I'm hoping and praying we only get rain and a little bit of wind, if that. Um, but yeah, depending on that, and then Friday, y'all know how Friday is. Friday's always up in the air. Um, and then, is there anything coming up besides April 1st, the new moon? Where's my calendar at? Do we have anything coming up? Huh, I guess we do not. Alrighty then. The atomic world does not mimic the physical world, yet the physical world is constructed of an atom. Oh, this is true too. Into writing. Oh, I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, and then I'm also, I don't know when, because remember I said that I was going to stop doing the whole date of when I needed to do something. I am going to be planning on making some videos, some oil videos. I did finally get some oil so I can actually start making some of my recipes and also showing y'all. I've just got to figure out my setup on that one. Um, but yeah, with prosperity workings, if you're going to do it, put the amount that you need, put slightly above or slightly under it. Add your Amazon wish list. The reason I'm saying that, last time I did one, when I was doing the experiment online, the day after that, I had someone randomly get like 5 things off my Amazon wish list, which kind of racked up to the amount that it was. So incorporate that in as well. And protection, especially on your phones. Do apps, sigils, runes, all different types of things. But yeah, until then, I will talk to all of y'all tomorrow, and or the people that I got a message, I'll talk to y'all today. But until then, I hope you all stay safe, dry, warm, cold, depending on where you're at. And until then, peace.